Hi guys, I'd just like to thank everyone for 50 subscribers. It's a little milestone, I know, but I'd just like to thank everyone for subscribing, liking the recent content I've been putting out on the channel. It's been great. Your support has been great to me, and yeah, I really love just interacting with everyone in the comments, just building a community around here. So yeah, cheers for everything, and cheers for 50 subs, boys. You know what happened today?
What?
You want to know what happened?
Hit us on what happened.
You know my footy channel?
Yeah.
It reached 50 subs.
Bro, 50 sub special.
Okay.
Let's go.
I thought you were gonna have like a better reaction. Can we just redo it, and then like when I tell you I have 50 subs, you just yell?
Alright, fair enough.
I'll put it at the start of the video. Okay, ready?
Yep.
Okay. Acting. Hey Ethan.
Yeah, Sam.
You know what happened today?
No, what happened today?
You know my footy channel?
Yeah, bro, I know your footy channel.
Yeah, that's good. It reached 50 subs.
Holy. I'm out. Bye. You're famous.
Yeah! Get over there now. Alright, what's going on, guys? And welcome to the round 6 tips. So this week we're going to go through them thick. We're going to go thick with like 5 C's. We're going to go through them fast, and we're going to go through them in a heavy fucking session. And they're all being played at neutral grounds, so this is going to be a weird week. Tipping's going to be difficult because it's not at home ground. There's no home ground advantages, so it's going to be the most hardest week to tip. It's the first round in AFL history where no team will be playing at the home venue. I mean, psh. Anyway, let's go. First game, Geelong versus Brisbane. I've got the Lions in this one by 17 points. I feel like Geelong, they will still put up a fight, no doubt about it. They've got really good attack and defense, but the Lions was just sort of being the hot, informed team of the competition right now. They are premiership favourites. They're really showing it. It's going to be weird because it's being played at the SCG, and both of these teams are not home teams at the SCG, obviously, but I feel like the Lions will get this one done by 17 points. It'll be a cracker of the game. We've got Dangerfield, Ablett, Selwood, and we've got the Lions. I'm not sure if Sawker's in. Lockheed Neal, we got Charlie Cameron, Eric Hipwood. We got a good game to look forward to for this one. I just think the Lions will be too good with their speed and their pace and their maturity that's growing around the club. So the Lions by 17 in this one. Next we got the Pies versus the Hawks at Spotless Stadium or Giant Stadium, whatever you call it. I've gone the Pies this one. I think they're going to win. I've got the Martins over there. They're going to win this one by 13 points. It's always a close one between the Pies and the Hawks. As good as the Hawks have been the last couple of weeks, the Pies are bringing in Will Kelly, which hopefully he will replace Mason Cox, because Mason Cox hasn't been the best. Will Kelly is a great forward line player. He's a great marking player as well. And I feel like the Pies will just want to win this one more than the Hawks because the Pies have been on a losing streak as of late. It's at Sydney Showground. Both teams have played there in the last 2 weeks. But percentage-wise, the Pies are better in Sydney. The Hawks did struggle against the Giants, and the Pies, they only lost by 2 points in fairness to them. So that's why I've gone the Pies in this one by 13 to get back on the winners list. Move on to the Saturday games. The first one is at Metricon Stadium between the Dockers and the Saints. Whoop-de-doo. I've gone the Saints this one, and many people have as well. I've gone the Saints by 35 points over the Dockers. I think the Saints' pace will definitely cop out the Dockers. The Dockers definitely are really struggling. Played well in patches against the Crows, but it was a scrappy game, let's be fair. As for the Saints, though, they are growing in maturity. They are a much faster side. They've got plays. They've got great players in their side that are handling the young players in their teams, like Bradley Hill. We got Dan Butler as well. He's just been a great inclusion for the Saints. And I don't know if it's Max or Ben King. I think it's Ben King for the Saints. I'm not quite sure. It's one of the Kings that's just been absolutely dominating for them up forward. So they're going to be hard to beat this year. And I think they'll beat the Dockers in this one by 35 at Metricon Stadium. Next, we have the Crows, the Eagles versus the Crows at the Gabba. I mean, what am I saying at this stage? I've got the Eagles to win this one by 26 points. I feel like from last week's win, they're going to grow in confidence, and Adelaide, their club is in shambles right now. They had good patches last week, but in fairness, they're just really struggling at the basics right now. There's a lot of turnovers. I don't know, I just feel like there's just a lot of frustration growing around the club, and it's not helping them out at all. And I feel like the Eagles' win last week was a much needed one, and it was against the Swans, who are an okay side in themselves. And their defense, the Eagles really stood tall last week. They just all worked well, and yeah, the Crows are just not working as well as the Eagles are. So I've gone the Eagles in this one by 26 points at the Gabba. Next, we have the D's versus the Suns. Matt Rouse, pray for Matt Rouse. Oh, I'm gonna miss him. Hashtag Matt Rouse Mondays if you can get behind it. We all just celebrate Matt Rouse. It's silly. I've got the Gold Coast Suns to win this one. It'll be a tight match. I wouldn't be surprised if the D's got over the line in this one, but I feel like the Suns, even without Matt Rouse last week, still pushed the Cats to the limit, and I feel like the D's, as much as they would like to win this one, still won't be able to handle the Suns, even though Matt Rouse out. They did well, the Suns, without Matt Rouse for a majority of the game. It's just the Cats are a much more mature side. But the D's, they've had bits and pieces where they've looked good, but bits and pieces where they've also looked bad. They're not as mature as the Cats are, and that's why I feel like if the Suns get on a run this week, they'll be able to push it further than they did last week. And it was really the Suns that killed themselves last week, and the Cats were just more turned on to be able to turn the ball over to their advantage, whereas the D's, I don't feel like they'll catch on to that as much. So I've gone the Suns by 22 points over the D's at Giant Stadium, whatever. Next, we have the Bombers versus the Roos at Metricon Stadium. I've gone the Dons in this one by 28 points. I feel like the Roos, Ben Brown, he's out of form. They're just really struggling, and the Dons are much more in form. They put a lot of pressure around the Pies and were able to beat them in the end, and they showed a maturity in the ending of that match against Collingwood. Dylan Shields racking up 29 disposals and kicking a snag to win the game for the Dons. Jake Stringer, although he's out, that's sad for him, but I still feel like they'll get over the line. And North are just in shambles. They're a bit of a frustrating club to watch. If you watch my live streams with me, they're just really frustrating to watch it sometimes, and they're not clicking. There's no team cohesion right there at the minute. So right now I've gone the Dons, who have that team cohesion, and they're going to win this one by 28 points at Metricon Stadium. Next, we got a beauty of a clash between the Power and the Giants to kick off the Sunday matches. This one's at Metricon Stadium as well. Boy, the people at Metricon Stadium have been working overtime this time. But I've gone the Power just to win by 5 points. By 5 points only. The tipping is even close. I'm just looking at it here on the ESPN ones. It's 52% to 48%. But I feel like the Power want to get back for last week. I feel like Charlie Dixon, he just got held accountable last week from Harris Andrews. Phil Davis versus Charlie Dixon will be an absolute ripper matchup. It's at Metricon Stadium though, not at Giant Stadium or the Adelaide Oval, so anything could happen. But I feel like Charlie Dixon, he played really well last time. He was at the Metricon Stadium and kicked 6 goals. They're back at Metricon Stadium, the Power, so they'll be loving it there. It's the Giants' first trip up there, I believe. So yeah, I've gone the Power in a close one by 5 points, and Charlie Dixon hopefully to get back on the score sheet so the Power can be up and about. Next, we have the Tigers versus the Swans at the Gabba. Weird one, I know. I've gone the Tigers to win this one by 16 points. I feel like the Swans will still put up a battle, but it'll be the Tigers in the end. They played a bit of a scrappy game, the Tigers, last week, and they do have 6 players out. There's no doubt about it. This is going to be a very tight match, but I feel like they'll still be able to get the job done, the Tigers. Tom Lynch, hopefully he can play for the Tigers this week. If not, maybe I'll change my tip. But right now I'm going to go the Tigers just for pure pace. Both teams have very I don't know how to say this, bad injury concerns, I guess. I feel like City have worse injury concerns though, and as much as there's 6 players out, I feel like the Tigers are much more in form. The Swans going down to the Eagles last week, Buddy's still not in the side. There's just so much to take into this match, so I've went the Tigers just to get back into their winning ways to win this one by 16 points, but again, wouldn't be surprised if the Swans were to get over the line. And in the final match we have the Blues versus the Dogs. Always a good one, this one always surprises you, but I've gone the Dogs. They just look like the much more informed team of the competition right now, and I feel like they'll win this one by 15 points over the Blues. The Blues, they're battling. They're sure as hell battling. It's always a close one between the Blues and the Dogs, so that's why I've only went the 15-point margin. But I just feel like the Dogs' midfield and forward line are really starting to click together. Josh Bruce kicking 6 goals last week against North Melbourne, who don't have a bad defence himself. So it's going to be a real test for the Blues this week. Jacob Wiedering on Josh Bruce, you can expect that much. But I feel like there's just so many good forwards in the Dogs lineup now. Bontempelli's firing. I think McRae's firing. I think it's McRae. Yeah, McRae is firing. And yeah, the Dogs are just firing good on all cylinders, and that's why I feel like they'll just be too good for the Blues, too mature for the Blues. They'll put on a challenge the Blues. It'll be good to see what Eddie Betts does, but I feel like they'll get this one, the Dogs, by 15 points over the Blues. And that concludes the tipping this week. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'd also like to thank everyone. I'll put this at the start of the video, so